Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Let me ask you a question. If I gave you $1 million today, would your mind be ready to keep it? To grow it? Or would it slip through your fingers? Money is not the beginning. The mind is. You don't get rich and then think differently. You think differently. And that's what makes you rich. You see, most people spend their time thinking about what they lack. But the people who change their lives and the lives of others train their minds to focus on what is possible. When something goes wrong, most people panic. But the millionaire mind doesn't say, "Why me?" It asks, "What can I learn? Where is the opportunity?" That is the difference between drowning in failure and swimming through it. Let me tell you something very honest. Most people are trained by social media, gossip, bad news, and low expectations. A millionaire is trained by books, by mentors, by mistakes, by the grind, by ideas. They don't wake up hoping for a lucky break. They wake up with a vision, a plan, and the discipline to follow through, especially when it's hard. And here's a secret they won't tell you: in millionaires do not think in hours. They think in value. They build systems. They build people. They build solutions, because when you create value, money becomes a natural side effect. So, how do you train your mind like a millionaire? You guard your time like it's gold. You read more than you scroll. You surround yourself with energy that pushes you forward, not people who keep you stuck. You don't wait for motivation. You build discipline. Most importantly, you stop thinking like a victim. You are not the result of what happens to you. You are the result of how your mind responds to what happens to you. A trained mind can turn rejection into redirection. A trained mind can turn an ordinary life into something extraordinary. You don't need to be born rich. You just need to train like the ones who are. One of the most defining traits of a millionaire mindset is the ability to prioritize vision over circumstance. This is not just about dreaming big. It's about developing mental strength to see beyond current limitations, to choose focus over fear and direction over distraction. It is a mindset shift that separates the doers from the doubters, the builders from the complainers. Circumstances are temporary, but vision is long-term. Circumstances can trap the average mind, but vision frees the focused one. Most people let their environment define their thinking. They look around at their problems: bills, rejections, missed opportunities, broken relationships, and decide that their future must look like more of the same. But those who think like millionaires have trained themselves to look through the obstacle, not at it. Where others see a wall, they see a blueprint. They don't deny their reality, but they refuse to be defined by it. Every great idea started with someone who saw something that wasn't there yet. That's vision. It's the ability to hold an image in your mind with such intensity that it starts to shape your actions, habits, and outcomes. And it does this despite your current resources, connections, or environment. People who operate at that level don't need external validation to move. They are self-driven because their inner picture is clearer than their outer situation. Circumstance is reactive. Vision is proactive. When you are caught in your circumstances, your entire energy goes into surviving. But when you lock in on your vision, your energy shifts into creating. It's not that you don't feel pressure. You feel it, but you respond with purpose. You're no longer negotiating with excuses. You're negotiating with strategy. This is why people with strong vision are often misunderstood. They speak about things that haven't happened yet. They make moves that others find risky. They invest time, effort, and focus into ideas others call unrealistic. But what the world often labels as crazy is simply clarity others can't yet see. You can't expect the world to understand your process when they can't see your vision, and that's fine. Because the ones with the millionaire mindset know they're not building for now. They're building for what's next. Vision is also what gives resilience. Anyone can be motivated when things are easy. But when the rejection emails come, when the business deal fails, when people laugh at your ideas, vision is what holds you together. Because vision reminds you that this is a chapter, not the whole book. That this is a test, not a defeat. That this is a delay, not a denial. It teaches you to zoom out, to see the whole journey, not just the moment. But vision isn't passive. It's not just about dreaming or wishing. Millionaire minds work their vision like a muscle. They write it down. They plan around it. They speak it aloud. They adjust their environment to support it. They consume content that fuels it. They protect it from noise, from distractions, from people who think small. Because they know vision can fade if it's not fed. And this is key. Your vision doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. It only needs to be strong enough to move you. If it's not strong enough to change your habits, it's not clear enough. If it doesn't wake you up early or keep you up late, it's not powerful enough. Vision should disturb your comfort zone. It should challenge your current self in order to build your future self. When you choose vision over circumstance, you stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, how can I create this? You stop saying, this is just how things are, and start asking, what would it take to change it? The conversation in your mind shifts. You stop operating from your limitations and start operating from your intentions. And that shift, that mental rewiring, that's where transformation begins. Millionaire minds aren't built on luck. They're built on discipline, daily, deliberate, often invisible actions that compound over time. Discipline isn't exciting. It's not flashy. But it's the force behind everything that looks like success. Without discipline, even the best ideas collapse. With it, even average ideas can grow into extraordinary results. The millionaire doesn't wait for the right mood, the right moment, or the perfect energy. They execute whether they feel like it or not, because they've trained themselves to move with purpose instead of emotion. Discipline is what separates a goal from a habit, a wish from a system. Most people set goals, few build systems. The disciplined mind doesn't depend on motivation. It depends on structure. Morning routines aren't optional. Daily learning isn't occasional. Focus time isn't negotiable, because discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds mastery. But discipline alone isn't enough. If you're disciplined in the wrong direction, you just get stuck faster. That's where self-education comes in. Millionaire thinkers don't wait for school to teach them what matters. They don't rely on titles, degrees, or credentials to validate what they know. They chase learning like a survival skill, because it is. The world changes fast, and the people who win aren't the ones with the best diplomas. They're the ones who learn faster, adapt faster, and think sharper. Self-education isn't passive, it's intentional. It means reading books that challenge your thinking, watching content that upgrades your perspective, asking better questions, seeking people who know more than you, not for entertainment, but for evolution. The self-educated mind is hungry, curious, uncomfortable with staying the same. It looks for patterns, strategies, principles, not just information. And here's the truth, most people won't do this. They say they want more, but their habits reveal otherwise. They'll scroll for hours, but won't read for 30 minutes. They'll complain about their job, but won't learn a new skill. They'll wait for permission to grow instead of taking control. Millionaires train their minds differently. They understand that the content you consume shapes the quality of your decisions. And the quality of your decisions shapes your income, your impact, your influence. The disciplined, self-educating mind doesn't get distracted by noise. It doesn't chase every new trend. It focuses deeply, studies relentlessly, and executes precisely. It treats time like currency and attention like gold. You won't see them wasting hours on things that don't align with their mission, because they know every distraction has a cost, and that cost is growth. Self-education also builds confidence, the kind that doesn't need applause. When you study, learn, and apply consistently, you start to trust your thinking. You don't need to copy what everyone else is doing. You understand the game. You see moves others don't. You anticipate problems before they appear. That kind of internal power comes from knowing you've earned your knowledge, not just inherited it. There's also a humility that comes with true self-education. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. That humility keeps you sharp. It keeps you learning. It keeps you from becoming arrogant or stagnant. Millionaire minds never stop learning because they know the cost of ignorance is far greater than the cost of effort. Discipline and self-education are not separate paths. They are twins. One without the other is incomplete. Discipline without education is blind action. Education without discipline is wasted potential. But together, they create an engine that doesn't burn out. The person who shows up every day to learn, build, and improve, even when no one's watching, is the person who eventually rises. Because over time, the compound interest of daily discipline and focused learning outperforms talent, background, and luck. Failure is not the enemy of success. It is one of its most powerful allies. Yet, so many people fear failure as if it's a dead end, a sign that they're not good enough, or that their dreams are impossible. But the truth is, failure is simply feedback. It is a necessary step on the path to mastery. The millionaire mindset doesn't just accept failure, it welcomes it. It uses failure as fuel to drive forward harder, smarter, and more determined than before. When you embrace failure, you shift your relationship with risk and uncertainty. Instead of avoiding mistakes or hiding from setbacks, you lean into them. You analyze what went wrong without judgment or self-pity. You strip away ego and blame, and you ask, what can I learn here? How can this make me better? This kind of thinking turns each failure into a building block, not a stumbling block. Many people fail once, twice, maybe 3 times, and then quit. They see failure as a verdict, a final judgment on their worth or ability. But the millionaire mind sees failure as a chapter, a lesson, a necessary pause for growth. It understands that every successful person you admire has a history filled with failures. The difference is they didn't stop. They didn't let failure define their story. Instead, they let it refine their story. Failure also forces clarity. When something breaks or falls apart, it forces you to evaluate your approach, your assumptions, and your strategies. It exposes weaknesses in your plan or gaps in your skills. And while that truth can be uncomfortable, it's also invaluable. Without failure, you might continue down the wrong path for years, wasting time, energy, and resources. Failure is like a harsh but honest coach. It points out exactly where you need to improve. But embracing failure isn't about being reckless or careless. It's about calculated risk, taking with a mindset prepared for lessons, not just wins. Millionaire minds take risks because they know that without stepping outside the comfort zone, growth is impossible. They prepare for failure by building resilience, by surrounding themselves with support, and by creating contingency plans. This preparation doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees they won't be crushed by setbacks. Another reason failure is fuel is because it builds grit, the kind of grit that can't be faked or bought. Grit is what keeps you working when motivation fades, when the results aren't immediate, and when obstacles appear insurmountable. Grit is the quiet strength inside that whispers, keep going. It's forged in the fires of adversity, sharpened by every mistake, and strengthened through every setback. Without failure, grit never develops. And without grit, dreams remain just wishes. There's also a powerful psychological shift that happens when you embrace failure. You stop fearing judgment from others because you realize failure is universal. Everyone fails. The difference lies in what you do next. This awareness frees you from paralysis and hesitation. You become more willing to experiment, to innovate, and to push boundaries. You understand that failure is part of the process, not the end of the journey. Embracing failure as fuel also teaches patience. Results rarely come overnight. The first, second, or even 10th attempt might fail, but each one carries the seeds of progress. Millionaire minds recognize that success is not a single moment, it's a collection of small victories built on lessons from failure. They learn to trust the process, to persist, and to remain focused on the vision even when the path is rocky. Finally, failure humbles and humanizes. It reminds you that you are learning, growing, and evolving. It keeps your ego in check and opens your heart to empathy. When you fail and overcome, you develop compassion for others on their journey. This humility helps build relationships, networks, and communities, things that are just as valuable as financial success. Failure, in essence, is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. It's raw material for transformation. When you train your mind to embrace failure as fuel, you unlock a powerful secret: the ability to turn setbacks into setups, obstacles into opportunities, and losses into lessons. And in doing so, you build a mindset that no challenge can break. One of the most important mindset shifts on the journey to success is learning to think in terms of value, not in terms of time. Most people live trapped in the cycle of trading hours for dollars. They measure their worth by the amount of time they spend working, believing that more hours mean more income, more respect, and more success. But this is a limited way of thinking. It keeps people stuck in a hamster wheel, exhausted but stagnant. The millionaire mindset breaks free from this trap by focusing on value creation instead of time spent. When you think in time, you work for a paycheck. You count hours, clock in and clock out, and measure productivity by attendance. This is the mindset of an employee, someone whose income is limited by the finite resource of their own time and energy. No matter how hard they work, there are only 24 hours in a day, and they are selling each hour for a fixed price. This approach often leads to burnout because you're trying to squeeze as much output as possible into limited hours. But thinking in value changes the entire game. It's not about how many hours you work, it's about how much value you deliver. When you shift your mindset to value, you start to ask questions like, how can I solve problems that matter? What can I create that people can't get anywhere else? How can I multiply my impact beyond my personal time? Suddenly, your focus moves from quantity to quality, from effort to results. Value is scalable. Time is not. You can only work so many hours, but you can create a product, a service, or a system that serves thousands or millions without requiring more of your personal time. Millionaires understand this distinction deeply. They invest in building assets, whether intellectual property, businesses, technology, or teams, that generate value continuously, independent of their direct involvement. This allows their income and influence to grow exponentially. Thinking in value also means prioritizing effectiveness over busyness. It's easy to mistake being busy for being productive, but true productivity comes from focusing on high-impact activities, those that generate the most value for your customers, clients, or audience. Millionaires learn to say no to distractions, time-wasting tasks, and low-value commitments because they know that every minute spent on the wrong thing is a lost opportunity to create something meaningful. This mindset encourages innovation and creativity. When you stop watching the clock and start focusing on value, you're free to experiment and iterate. You're driven by the desire to solve problems in new ways, to improve systems, and to deliver unique experiences. You don't limit yourself to a fixed schedule. Instead, you let the pursuit of value guide your efforts. Thinking in value also shifts your relationship with money. Instead of seeing money as a reward for time work, you see it as a reflection of the value you create. This frees you from the scarcity mindset that says you must constantly hustle to survive. Instead, you focus on providing exceptional value, and money follows as a natural consequence. This mindset encourages generosity, collaboration, and long-term thinking because creating value often means lifting others as you rise. Another critical aspect of thinking in value is investing in your personal brand and reputation. When people recognize the value you consistently provide, your time becomes more valuable too. You start commanding higher prices, more trust, on better opportunities, not because you work longer hours, but because your unique contribution is worth more. This is why millionaires often emphasize skills like communication, leadership, and problem solving. because these amplify the value they deliver. This mindset also encourages building systems and delegating effectively. Millionaires don't try to do everything themselves. They create frameworks that operate smoothly without their constant presence. This frees their time to focus on strategy, growth, and creating new value. They understand that their time is their most precious asset, and they protect it fiercely by multiplying their efforts through others and technology. Ultimately, thinking in value is about shifting from a scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality. It's the understanding that your impact can be multiplied infinitely when you focus on creating true value. Your time is limited, but the value you provide can ripple out in ways you never imagined. This mindset transforms how you work, how you invest, and how you live, and it's one of the most powerful tools for achieving financial freedom and meaningful success. If you want to think like a millionaire, you must first understand how deeply your environment and the influences around you shape your mind. The truth is, no one succeeds in isolation. Your surroundings, people, places, information either lift you up or pull you down. And the millionaire mindset is built on the intentional awareness and control of these influences. Most people underestimate how powerful their environment is. They think success depends solely on their talent or hard work. But even the most talented and hardworking individuals can get stuck if their environment is toxic, distracting, or limiting. If you spend your time around negative people who doubt your dreams, who gossip, or who lack ambition, their mindset will inevitably rub off on you. It's like planting a seed in poor soil. It might grow, but it won't flourish. Millionaires recognize early on that their environment is either their greatest asset or their biggest liability. They invest time and energy into creating a space, both physical and social, that fuels their growth. This means surrounding themselves with people who challenge them, inspire them, and push them toward higher standards. It means avoiding those who drain energy or encourage complacency. Because your mindset is contagious, and you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But environment is not just about the people around you. It's also about what you feed your mind every day. The information you consume, the media you watch, the books you read, all of these shape your thoughts, beliefs, and decisions. Millionaires are selective with their intake. They avoid endless scrolling through social media or consuming negative news that leads to fear and doubt. Instead, they fill their minds with ideas, knowledge, and stories of success, resilience, and innovation. They create routines that protect their mental space. This might look like morning rituals, focused work hours, or dedicated times for learning. These routines act as boundaries against the chaos of distraction, because a scattered mind can't create wealth, but a disciplined mind focused on growth can move mountains. Influence also comes from mentorship and networking. Millionaires seek out mentors not because they want handouts, but because they want wisdom, someone who has walked the path before and can provide insight, guidance, and accountability. They know that learning from others accelerates growth and reduces costly mistakes. And they don't just collect contacts, they build relationships grounded in mutual respect and shared vision. Another element of environment awareness is physical space. Your surroundings affect your energy and focus more than most realize. A cluttered, chaotic workspace creates mental clutter and stress. A clean, organized, inspiring environment sparks creativity and productivity. Millionaires design their spaces to support their goals. They invest in tools, technology, and comfort that enable them to perform at their best. Technology itself can be an influence to manage. The millionaire mind doesn't let notifications, endless emails, or digital distractions control their day. They set boundaries with technology, using it as a tool, not a distraction. They schedule time to unplug, reflect, and recharge, because constant connection can lead to burnout, and burnout kills creativity and resilience. Being aware of environment and influence also means understanding social and cultural programming. Sometimes, the biggest obstacles come from unconscious beliefs absorbed from family, community, or society that limit what you think is possible. Millionaire minds actively work to recognize and rewrite these limiting narratives. They challenge traditions or fears that say, "This is how things are," or "You can't do that." Instead, they question everything and reframe their mindset to align with possibility and abundance. Lastly, this awareness is about protecting your mental and emotional health. Surrounding yourself with positivity, optimism, and support doesn't mean ignoring reality or difficulties. It means choosing to invest your emotional energy where it can grow rather than where it drains. It means learning to say no to people, habits, or environments that don't serve your higher purpose. In essence, the millionaire mindset treats environment and influence as a form of self-respect. It is the daily commitment to guard what you allow into your mind and life, knowing that the quality of your environment directly impacts the quality of your thoughts, decisions, and ultimately your success. To train your mind like a millionaire is to commit to a journey far beyond simple ambition. It means choosing vision over circumstance, seeing opportunity where others see obstacles. It means embracing discipline and self-education as daily rituals that sharpen your edge and expand your capacity. It means welcoming failure not as a defeat, but as the fuel that powers growth, resilience, and innovation. It means shifting your mindset to think in value, not in time, focusing on impact over effort, and creating systems that multiply your influence beyond your hours. And it means being deeply aware of your environment and influences, deliberately surrounding yourself with people, knowledge, and spaces that uplift and challenge you. This is not a quick fix or a secret shortcut. It's a lifestyle, an intentional way of training your mind every single day to rise above limits, to push past doubt, and to craft the future you deserve. When you commit to this mindset, you unlock a power within yourself that no external circumstance can take away. You become the architect of your own success, building wealth not just in dollars, but in knowledge, confidence, and impact. Train your mind like a millionaire and watch how your world transforms.